Good morning. Welcome back to Flipping Pages, Stirring Sauces. If it is your first time here, welcome. My gratitude to those of you who have liked, shared, subscribed, and commented. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. 3:56 in the morning. I am in bed, but as you can see, I'm wide awake. And when I get finished with this video, I'm going to be tackling that machine right over there. It's been many years. It's been a while since I've been on that machine. And I've come to the conclusion that the only way to heal my body from my work-related injuries is to move. And so I'm going to be getting onto that machine and making it work for me. But you know, the topics lately have been, well, I guess the topics have always been very serious. And sometimes I wonder if the world has gone mad and if it's just the wickedness in people that is coming out. Is there a normal, genuine person out there, or is the world just wicked? So this one is going to be entitled The Wicked Nosey Neighbor. Now, maybe it's just me, and let's start this way. Now, you have neighbor A and you have neighbor B. Neighbor B lives in a house with all men. I guess that was neighbor B. Neighbor B lives in a house with all men. Neighbor A lives next door with her husband, her son, and her daughter. Neighbor B is a very good cook. And neighbor B knows how to take care of her family and prepare their meals. Neighbor A decided she was going to make a meal for one of the male members of neighbor. No, I got the neighbors all mixed up. So neighbor B lives in the house with all men. So neighbor A decides she's going to make a meal for one of the men who lives in neighbor B's house. So neighbor B has house rules. Don't eat from anybody. Don't eat after anybody. And everything will be all right. Anyway, neighbor A, for some reason, took it upon herself to make one of the male members in neighbor B's house a meal. And after consuming that meal, the male member in neighbor B's house got very sick and had diarrhea for almost a week. Couldn't eat, and everything that he drank just went right through him. So needless to say, this male member was severely warned by neighbor B not to eat from this person because this person doesn't have his best interest at heart. But this male member is very trusting, and just thinks that he reacted to something. Anyway, neighbor A likes to plant things in neighbor B's garden. Neighbor B has told neighbor A, don't plant anything in my garden. Anyway, neighbor A just ignores neighbor B and continues to plant things in neighbor B's garden. Anyway, neighbor A is very nosy. Neighbor A likes to know what is going on in other people's homes. Even though you politely tell neighbor A, do not ask me questions about my personal life, and I'm not interested in knowing about your personal life. Anyway, so neighbor A decides to make another meal for one of the male members of neighbor B's family. Neighbor B comes home and sees this strange looking container with food in it and asks, what is this? Where did this come from? Oh, the neighbor gave that to me. Well, you know that ends up in the garbage container and all, promptly and swiftly. Anyway, neighbor B decides that she wasn't just going to plant something in neighbor B's garden. She is going to do her voodoo witchcraft nonsense garbage. And she is going to sprinkle stuff all over neighbor B's front entrance. What she doesn't realize is who neighbor B is. So, be a good neighbor. Do not plant anything in your neighbor's garden. Do not give your neighbor's male members dirty, unclean things to eat. And do not bury any voodoo garbage in your neighbor's garden, because if it's a neighbor like me, it gets burnt out, salted out, and ends up right back on your front porch. Do not be nosy. Do not ask your neighbor's grown children if they're sleeping with their girlfriends. Do not ask your neighbor's mother personal questions about her grown children. And if your neighbor's child buys an automobile, do not ask him how much he paid for it. Do not ask your neighbor about their visitors. And do not try to find out what goes on in your neighbor's house. Do not make your neighbor's children uncomfortable leaving their home. Do not cause your neighbor's children to run back inside the house every time they step outside and see you. You're not being a very good neighbor. No. Keep your little voodoo garbage to yourself and keep it out of your neighbor's garden, because the next time when it comes back, it's not going to come back like it came back the last time. Okay, so be a good neighbor. Stay out of your neighbor's house. Stay out of your neighbor's personal life. And don't question your neighbor's grown children's girlfriend. You're not being a good neighbor. And do not bury anything in your neighbor's garden. Because like I said, some people might not be as nice about it as your neighbor was. And the next time, your neighbor won't be so nice about it. Be a good neighbor. Stay out of your neighbor's garden. Please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and be a good neighbor. I give you my peace. I give you my hab, a wall of protection around the revolutionaries. Until next time, shalom. Be a good neighbor.